So in the previous videos, I've been speaking about what is happening to the people on the ground. I haven't touched a lot on the situation on the ground. No situation hasn't changed much, but I wanted to continue to give you a context of what is happening. Now, this video will focus particularly on what Congolese people have been saying. Since 1996, Congolese have been saying the same thing about what is happening in the Congo. Now, in 1996, uh, unfortunately, two of Congo's neighbors, Rwanda and Uganda, supported rebel groups and brought their soldiers into the Congo to topple the regime of a dictator called Mobutu. And they were successful at removing him from power in 1997 and installed another leader there. And then from 97 up to present, we've had subsequent wars and different rebel groups being created, being presented as Congolese actually fighting while they're being supported by the outside. And because of this continuous war, over 6 million people have died in the Congo. And then you wonder about what is going on, why these people are killing each other. I mean, it's a pattern, really, of what is happening. Now, I always mention Rwanda and Uganda. I wanted to emphasize in this video about the role of Rwanda, and the upcoming video I'll speak about the role of Uganda. Now, Rwanda plays a particular role. Professor René Le Marchand wrote a paper in a academic paper where he said that Rwanda has the power to wage war and bring peace, and that peace in the Congo will come through Rwanda because war came through Rwanda. And I do believe that too. And I do believe that this tiny country of Africa has so much potential that if the potential is used for peace, it will really help. And that's now. Now I want to go to the historical narrative. Now, when the war started in 96, there was a rebel group called AFDL that was created. It had in the front Congolese as the face of the movement, while behind there were Rwandan military soldiers who were fighting the war. They removed Mobutu, placed Laurent Kabila as the president, and a year later, in 1997, that's when they took power. A year later, in 1998, specifically in August, ties between Rwanda and Uganda were broken, and the second war started. When the second war started, Rwanda created another proxy rebel group. It wasn't AFDL anymore. It was now called RCD. So the RCD rebel group had a few Congolese in the front and Rwandan military soldiers again into the proxy rebel militias. That fought and brought in many different countries, SADC countries, Southern African Development Community countries, got involved into the battle. We had about 11 countries in the Congo fighting on both sides. One on the side of the Congolese government, the others were fighting on the side of Rwanda and Uganda. So after they fought for years, in 2002, due to international pressure again, surprisingly, from George Bush, he threatened to freeze aid to Rwanda through the IMF. And it worked and brought these nations at a stop, and they signed a peace accord. So the RCD rebel group was dismantled and they integrated the rebels into the Congolese army. 2002 on to 2006, there were a few battles there where few generals, a few soldiers actually, Colonel Mutebesi, in 2004 left the Congolese army, ripped. Him and his soldiers raped Congolese women in Bukavu, and actually he's been in Rwanda. He took off, and he's been hiding in Rwanda since 2004. We're still awaiting him to be extradited back so he can face justice. Then in 2006, there was a new movement that was created where the former soldiers from RCD, who are former soldiers of AFDL, started a new rebel movement. They called it the CNDP. So the CNDP rebel group left the Congolese army circa 2006-2007, and they were claiming again protecting minority groups in the Congo. They said that they wanted democracy in the Congo and so on. And their fight in the bushes lasted up until 2008, when the United Nations published a report showing that these rebels in the Congo were being supported by Rwanda, being given financial support, military equipment, military uniform. And due to that report, Sweden and Netherlands froze aid to Rwanda. And one of the rebel leaders was dismantled. And they took the CNDP rebel group and integrated them back into the Congolese army. So they became Congolese soldiers, still committing the crimes under the Congolese army uniform. And people did not realize that, whenever you read the news and you hear Congolese army soldiers committing crimes and raping their women, I always argue those are the rebels of yesterday just wearing a Congolese army uniform. So when that took place, right after that, lately, you see, since, what time was that? Since April this year, April 2012, you saw another uprising of the rebellion. The uprising of the rebellion is in a context. There is a rebel leader called Bosco Ntaganda, who was part of the CNDP, who was also part of the RCD. So it's the same people now. Don't get confused. AFDL, RCD, CNDP are the same people. Just change the acronyms every now and then get everyone confused. So CNDP integrated into the Congolese army with Bosco Ntaganda, who is wanted at the International Criminal Court. There was an order to get him arrested so he could be extradited to The Hague to face justice, and he refused to be arrested. He left the Congolese army with his soldiers, and as he took off, people in the beginning, they were actually talking about Bosco. Where is Bosco? What is going on? Then little by little, the narrative changed. The CNDP mutineers became a new movement called M23. No one talks about Bosco now. Everyone is talking about M23. And this new M23 movement, they are former CNDP soldiers. They are coming with a new face, a guy named Colonel Sotani Makenga, saying he's the leader of that movement. And all the journalists are following the story of the rebels. They are now having critical analysis. Why no one is asking, where is Bosco? So what they actually did in April, as they started a new rebel movement, was really to cover. So no one will know that Bosco exists. People will forget about that the fact that he needs to be tried. So we are all focused around M23 rebels, and we're wondering, who is M23? So here's the narrative with everything I just explained. AFDL, 96. 98, he became RCD. 2006, he became CNDP. Today, it's called M23. They are the same people over and over again. In the US, we know it with Blackwater. They are with Skolgzi. In the Congo, AFDL, RCD, CNDP, and M23 are just rebranding themselves so people will be confused about the narrative. So what do I want you to do now? Last week, you were supposed to call on the White House. Call Obama and engage him. But you have more people that you need to talk to. We are going to move away from the presidency. Now speak to your religious leader. When you're going to go to church, to your mosque, to your synagogue, ask them, the issue of the Congo is as important as the civil rights movement was yesterday. During the civil rights movement, religious leaders took it to the street to demand that there is racial equality in this country. They did not call that a political discussion. They called it a social injustice in America for people to denounce. Now we have a serious injustice in the Congo. Over 6 million people dead, and religious communities are not talking about it. So demand that your religious leader speak about the situation in the Congo. I want you to tell them, yes, you can talk about the situation in the Congo in the church, in the synagogue. It's a social injustice. Any religious leader, be it Jesus Christ, Mohammed, or even, as I mentioned, in the civil rights movement, we had pastors who took it to the street to say that we have to come together as a people. There should not be separation because of race. We cannot have 6 million black people in the Congo dying and the world is silent, and it will take religious community to take charge. Talk to your religious leader and have them engage in breaking the silence about the situation in the Congo.